Welcome back to the Looks Creepy Cool podcast. I'm your host, Renee. Tonight, we're stepping into the mirror room with actress Jennifer Leigh Houston. Jennifer is an indie actress best known for her role in the award-winning horror comedy Evil Sublet, which received multiple awards at the 2023 Haunted House FearFest Film and Video Game Festival. Beyond acting, she's also explored voice acting and other creative roles behind the scenes, giving her a unique perspective on indie filmmaking. But tonight, we're going beyond the performance. Inside the mirror room, we're reflecting on fear, identity, vulnerability, and the experiences that have shaped Jennifer, not just as an actress, but as a person. So, let's step inside the mirror room. Well, I am so excited tonight, guys. We have Jennifer Houston in the mirror room. Jennifer, how are you?
I am so good, and I'm really glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, I'm super, super excited. So, Jen, before we begin, you're not new to the Haunted House Fear Fest, but you're new to some of the rooms. And here we have is the mirror room. And before we begin, let me tell you a little bit about the mirror room. The mirror room isn't about jump scares, it's about reflection. It's where we step back from the finished work and explore the experiences, fears, inspirations, and defining moments that shape the person behind the stories. Every guest who steps into the mirror room brings a different reflection. So, Jen, one of my first questions that I have for you is that growing up, what kind of stories fascinated you? Were you always drawn to horror, or did horror find you?
I have always been drawn to horror. And I, I was a very fearful child,
Mhm.
so I find it, and I'm a very fearful adult as well. So I don't know if it's like a homeopathic type of thing, like when you're so afraid of something, you dive deeper into it to maybe to try to allay those fears. I don't know, but
That's
you know
brave.
yeah, I mean, I think that's but I think that's what we're all doing with horror.
Mm.
And I think that's I mean, we'll get into this deeper, but I think that the more horrific life is, if you look back historically, you'll see in the times in life when horror becomes more prevalent. Because it's mirroring what's going on in the world. But anyway, I feel like people do that too. Like when you
Mm.
need to it's the perfect escapism. But going back to your question about did it find me or I it's a dual thing. So I have four older brothers, and it was a lot of like I dare you to, you know what I mean? And being this little, and I'm the only girl and I'm the youngest, and they were just constantly like at me, at me, at me all the time. But I wanted to be with them, and I wanted to
Mhm.
do what they were doing, and they were watching a lot of horror. They were rough and tumble boys. They were listening to really hard rock and like really, and I'm like, yeah, I'm cool too. I'm like, dude, you are so not cool. I have never been cool. I'm not cool now. I wasn't cool in high school. Like, I've never been cool. So, I mean, but when you're a kid, you're just like, yeah, I could do that. So a lot of it started, I think, with a dare. Well, we're watching, you know, whatever creep show, whatever was on.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up in a small town, you're limited to like what was playing on one of the three channels
Yes.
that we had growing. I'm old, so like maybe we
Yeah.
had a pair of pliers for that television, like turning on one of the three stations. And but usually on a Friday night, like later in the night, there was like some horror thing playing. So, but I think a lot of it started that way, but then there's the kind
Mhm.
of duality where
Yeah.
the house that we grew up in was so haunted.
What? Tell
Yeah.
me.
Well, we didn't know the story at the time. My eldest brother
Yeah.
found out later when he was older, but there's a 10-year spread between the two of us.
Uh,
Something about there was a teenage girl that lived there right before my parents bought the house, and she blew her brains out.
oh my God. This is right out of
Yeah.
The Conjuring, it feels
Yeah,
like.
yeah, and it was like her, out of a deep depression. She was
Oh.
rejected apparently by she fell in love with the wrong person, whatever. I don't
Oh.
fully know the backstory, but needless to say, the room that would be my room was her room.
Oh my god.
So, my parents moved into that house literally 7 days before I was born.
Oh.
So every little bit of life that I had was, it was in that room, and I just instinctively knew that something was wrong in the house. Like that's just shit was not right. You know what I
Did
mean?
anything happen when you were sleeping that you could remember, like waking up in the middle of the night, any paralysis or
Yeah, I didn't know. I did not have any sleep paralysis then,
Oh,
but there was always a feeling of being watched, and that's hard to prove, right? Like,
right,
but even when you're a child, like you can still feel a human presence. You can still feel eyes on you. And I
right.
and I would always have that when I would be just in my room, just messing around, like having an orgy with Ken and Barbie, the things that you do when you're a child. And I'm like, and I would always be looking over my shoulder, you know? Um, I was so instinctively afraid of my room. Actually slept with one of my brothers until I was, I don't know, like 8, 9, until my parents were like, "I'm putting my foot down, you have to sleep in that room."
Oh.
And it was awful. I mean, I felt like it was a punishment. So, and then of course throughout my childhood there were like all sorts of crazy things that happened, things that just moved themselves.
And your parents didn't believe you?
I never said anything to anybody.
Oh.
As a matter of fact, none of us said anything to anybody. It wasn't until after my parents sold that house, after I went away to college,
Mhm.
and we were all, like, in my mom and dad's new condo, and we were back for, like, a family thing, and my eldest brother was like, "So, tell me some shit that went down." And I was like, "What are you talking?" Like, "What are you Oh my god, you too." And he was like, all the brothers were like, "Yeah. Yeah, it was shit went down. Things would go bump in the night. I always felt like I was being watched." But nothing, malicious. It
Thank
wasn't.
God.
Yeah, yeah, it
Oh,
wasn't. I've lived in 3 haunted houses, and they're all, like, so much the same, like, so much the needing to, like, they need me to see them. They need me to know they're there.
wow.
It seems like that was their whole mission. Like, "Oh, did you put that there? Because when you come back into the room, it's gonna be across the room."
Oh
That's
my god.
just constantly.
I feel like when you were born, you moved into a haunted house without you knowing because you were born. I mean, you were a little baby. And then you lived in 2 other houses after that or places after that. I
Yeah.
mean, wow, Jen, do you think have you ever thought maybe you're like an empath or have some type of
I definitely am an empath. I mean,
Wow.
it's not the greatest thing in the world. I mean, it really is not the greatest thing in the world. I think empaths have a much harder time in life. I
Yeah.
am so and I'm so emotional. I've
Mm.
always been almost unbearably, or let me rephrase this, embarrassingly
Mhm.
emotional. Last night was at dinner with our niece, and she's an adult, and she was like, "I've never been to Disneyland," and she's like, my husband and I are like, "What?" And we, because we're not Disney adults, but
You've been.
we really appreciate it. I come
Yeah.
from a machinist family, like that's
Okay.
our whole deal. So like the first time we went to Disney, I was 4, and I was
Mhm.
like, you know, theater, and look at the ingenuity of it, basically. But anyway, I was telling her because she didn't know what Disneyland was. She was like, "Isn't it just a dumb amusement park filled with?" I was like, "No!
No.
Oh my god, are you fucking kidding me?" I was like, and I launched into. I was like, "Well, from the minute you walk in," and I said, "It's complete and total theater." I
Yeah.
said, I mean, and
It's
everybody,
magical.
it's magical. Nobody breaks character. And she was
Mhm.
asking, "Well, what about, like, what are the rides?" And I'm like, "It's theater. You move from one scenario, one scene in the story to another, and I said,
Yeah.
through the whole park." Anyway, I started crying when I was I was so, and she's like, because she's like, really? Like, and I'm like, no, I don't mean to cry. I just mean that because I can't help it because I'm
Yeah.
so whatever. But that's my whole life has been like that, where I
Mm.
feel things maybe a little too much. But as far as being empathic, I think when it really hit me
Mhm.
was when Alan and I were living. Alan's my husband, screenwriter, amazing
Yep.
fellow. When we were living in the Evil Sublet, 6 blocks from here. So we've moved since then. I lived there for like, almost 20 years. And this is an old, really dilapidated apartment building in the East Village. It was built in 1851.
Guys, go see the movie. It's available, like, everywhere, right? On Amazon
And
and everywhere.
Fandango and
Yeah.
Tubi and Bloodstream
Oh,
and
Bloodstream, yeah,
yeah,
see
yeah,
the
yeah,
movie,
yeah.
but, yeah, tell us the story. I
Yeah.
mean, obviously, I've seen the movie more than once because it was in the festival and won, but, yeah, tell the audience
Yeah.
about it.
I'm not gonna say that Alan wrote Evil Sublet because we were living in a haunted space, because he
Mhm.
actually had already, because he's a screenwriter, he had written a billion things, and he had actually had this one scene about basically, what people would endure, adults would endure a haunted apartment if the rent was cheap. That was,
Sure.
he already had that thing, but then, and when he moved in with me, by the way, he
Mm.
100% did not subscribe to hauntings.
Yeah.
Um, and not at all. He's a brainiac and he's a pragmatist, and that just didn't jibe with him. And when he moved in, I said, "Listen, I'm going to tell you some shit goes down here." And he's like, "Okay." And I'm like, "No, no, no, no. I don't know. I don't know when. I don't know how, but I know something will fuck you up." So, and boy, the first thing that happened to him and
Mm.
me blew his mind to the point. I mean, it was so unbelievably undeniable that he had to capitulate. He had to just
He had to give
completely.
in.
He had to. He had to go my way of thinking. And then once that blew his mind and blew the door open, literally blew the door open.
Yeah.
He wrote that, by the way, into Evil Sublet. Um, I don't wanna give too much away, but
Oh,
do you know this, where one person's in bed and the other person's is
I was just
watching
about to say the bedroom.
so that was
Yeah.
step by step, frame by frame, literally what happened.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was, even by my standards, even for my whole life of having
Mhm.
things, that was the biggest thing that had ever happened to me, and I was wondering, like, "Oh, should we move?" Like, "Hey, that's wow." I mean, that's not like, "Oh, you put my water glass across the room." That wasn't that. That was like, "Bitch, I'm gonna mess your sleep up for weeks,"
But
type
you
of
guys
thing.
stayed there for so long and
We never felt like anything malevolent. What I was gonna
mhm.
say about the thing that, here's what about being an empath,
Yeah.
and I know this sounds bananas, believe me, it's not. I don't want people to, I hear the words coming out of my mouth. I know how bananas it sounds. Believe
Well,
me.
not to this audience, so
Okay, well, good, good. So, well, good. Maybe your audience will completely appreciate what I'm about to say.
Mm.
God, I hope I don't cry. That would be so embarrassing.
No, it's
But,
okay.
but what I felt a lot. See, I'm crying already. What I felt a lot was like despair. You know what I mean?
Oh.
And when you think about it, I say this every time I bring it up, but I need people to be filled in. So think about it. This single family home in the East Village, in the very scrappy working class, when you think about in the late 1800s, mid to late 1800s, early 1900s, what that neighborhood was going through. I'm not just
Mm.
talking about disease and famine and like the Spanish flu of 1917. I'm not just talking about that stuff. I'm just talking about like the caliber of life. You're going to have a very rough working class life if you are living in that neighborhood because this ain't uptown, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This is downtown. This is just a couple of blocks above Houston Street, where the fabric and the beer industry and the pickle industry, so everybody's really, and if people have come from all over the world and they've landed downtown. So you've got a real kind of hard life built into the house's history already, or the apartment's history. And I don't know when that single family house was broken up into apartments. I mean, who knows when that happened? Could have been the
Yeah.
20s, could have been the 30s, could have been the 70s. I don't know. But what I feel and what I felt in that house was, particularly in our bedroom where a lot of shit went down, which would have been the main bedroom. Uh, and I imagine a lot of people died there. I imagine people died a very miserable death. And how I feel it, what I want to say is, imagine the worst flu you've ever had in your life, or if you had COVID, or if you've had dysentery.
Mm.
Imagine having the worst flu of your life, and imagine not having not one thing to remedy it. Like, the only respite you might have had from, you didn't even have white willow bark.
Oh my
You
God.
know what I mean? They didn't have any Tylenol. They didn't have Advil. They didn't have,
Yeah.
probably didn't even have a hot water bottle. You know what
Or
they had?
Band-Aids.
Nothing. They didn't have fuck all. But
Yeah.
imagine if all you had was maybe somebody sitting next to your bedside with a bowl and a rag of cool water.
Yeah.
Like, we would not be able to live a week in the life that those people lived. So
Yeah.
when I think about their deaths, when I think about them suffering so painfully, or of all of the diseases that there weren't any prevention for, you know what I mean?
Mm.
TB was rampant. You know, just a few blocks up from where the apartment was is Bellevue Hospital. And I don't know
Oh.
if you know anything about Bellevue Hospital, but like, I love that Bellevue is still there and still standing. But it was like the TB hospital and the place you go where you're like, insane. And, anyway, I just think
Yeah.
about that entire neighborhood as being completely traumatized, basically. So it's not a wonder that if an empath would wander into a place like that, that they might begin to experience some heavy, heavy feelings. But yeah, a lot of things went down in that apartment, and the last the last time before I called in some professionals because I
Oh.
honestly couldn't take it anymore. It was when we were ramping up the finale, the last bits of filming for Evil Sublet, and it the wrap up. We filmed a lot of it in order.
Mhm.
So it would have been the trauma when all of the spirits were there, and it was also around the time where the first death happened in the film, happened
Yep.
in the parlor.
Yeah.
That shit started, like, and all of a sudden, in a way that I hadn't really before in all of the years that I'd lived there, I started hearing things. I started hearing people's voices, and that was new. And I thought, oh shit, am I okay? Am I crazy? Like, what is happening? Little things, like, and not all the time, but I don't know, 6, 7 times in total, maybe.
But
Um,
still, oh my
in
was it
that
like more
room,
like was it more like whispers? Like
it wasn't like whispers like that. It
okay.
was more like it was okay, like when you're laying your head down on the
Mhm.
mattress and the person next to you says something and their face is also in the mattress. It's almost like you're hearing it through the mattress, like a muffled.
That's scary, Jen.
It's really scary.
Wow.
But the first times where it was just my name, there was like 3 times there was like, hello. And I was like, shit, hello? I don't like, I mean, and just like, man, the hairs all over your body are at attention.
Oh my
Like,
God.
and I never felt a temperature change. I never have felt a temperature change. I think that's might be just for the movies. I don't know. I have never been on a good enough ghost hunt to know, like,
Well, hopefully you never have to experience that when the temperature changes.
yeah, but for sure, the body feeling that I felt of having my name called,
Mm.
and there were a lot of that, and then after hello, then they started calling my name, and it wasn't always the same person. There were at least 3 distinct voices that I heard. One was an old lady, one was an older man, and one was a younger man. So that's how many times they let me know that they were there. Um, and then they started Jen. So I'm like, what? Oh my
Oh my
God.
god.
And poor Alan, there were times when I literally, I don't give a shit if you're having the best sleep of your life. Like, I wake him up. Did you just say something? He's like, oh, no, I'm sleeping. Um,
Why didn't they bother him more, but more it seems like they bothered you more?
Yeah, he was not having any well, first of I mean,
Uh,
he he's up here a lot,
mhm.
he's very, 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 very busy. Like, he's got
Yeah.
always got 4 jobs going, and I think that even if they were truly audible
Mm.
in a way, like, they weren't just talking to me. I think if they were trying to talk to both of us, I still don't think he would hear them because the
Yeah.
wheels in that boy's brain are just I think he's too wrapped up, you know what I mean? I don't know, and maybe that's why the one thing no, there've been 2 absolutely, completely holy shit moments for him that happened there, and the other one we put in the movie as well. Um yeah, like, he had to come in he had to see it for himself. He had to be alone in the house and
Wow.
then have the water in the bathroom start running all by itself.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like, he had to have that for him to go, "Oh," and then the thing with the doors, that had to happen for him. It's like, "Oh, is this" I feel like the ghosts were saying, "Is this enough for you now, Mr. Man? Like, do you hear me now? Do you hear me now?"
They were being
So,
funny with him.
yeah, but I think sharing with him, at first I didn't say a lot to him about some of
Mhm.
the shit that went down. It was really only through the making of Evil Sublet where I was like, "Oh, and by the way, this other thing," and you'd be like, "Oh my god, really?" Where I felt like he knows me now.
Mhm.
He's experienced something himself. He's not gonna just think I'm, pat you on the head. "Oh, isn't that adorable?"
Right.
Anyway, daddy's
What
busy.
do
So
you do I feel like from when you were born and, like and the house that you're in was haunted, I feel like it prepared you for your apartment at Evil Summit. Like, how long were you living there before you eventually moved?
in the Evil Sublet?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, and we did not by the way, we did not move because of the spirits. We moved because our rent was going up $500,
Okay.
and and
Wow,
this
that was the reason,
that
okay.
was the reason. No, and this apartment we bought this apartment 2 years ago. We bought it, and
Wow. Congrats.
our mortgage is probably less than our rent would be now.
Wow,
So,
congrats.
we did not have much of a choice, and
Yeah,
I was not leaving the island of Manhattan.
no.
So, we're literally 6 blocks away from the Evil Sublet. We're in the same neighborhood.
Wow, so the
So,
apartment's still there.
yeah, the apartment's still there.
Mm,
I did a massive cleansing.
okay.
Um,
That was
I
nice of you.
yeah, I kind of couldn't take it anymore, to be honest
Mhm,
with you. Like, I was starting to get, unnerved, and I'm already a little bit jumpity,
mhm.
I'm high anxiety. My anxiety is, like, through the roof, like, most of the time, and what I didn't need and I was already experiencing, like, a lot of, I almost said sleep apnea. Not sleep apnea. Insomnia. Insomnia. And of course then what do I do to, like, cure the insomnia? I'm, like, absolutely up reading a horror book, like, every single night. Every single
Wow,
night. Yeah.
wow.
Like you do. Um, so so I think but there was one thing that I had an audio clairvoyant,
Mhm,
whatever the proper term is called. Um, where I felt like they were she,
mm.
the lady dying, that's I refer to as the
Oh,
person who was dying,
yeah.
and her sound came from underneath the bed. So we had a loft bed, and then I had my closet built up underneath the, because we had 11-foot ceilings.
Mm-hmm.
So this massive loft bed with like a whole like world underneath the bed. But that's the logical place for any bed to have been in that bedroom. So I feel like if you were laying dying, but directly beneath me. You know what I mean? So that's where a lot of the feelings came from. That's where a lot of the sounds came from. And one night I was up, I was awake, and I heard her just yell at me, "Move!"
What?
And I was like, and I woke up Alan, and I was like, "Tell me you didn't say anything." He goes, "Babe, I did not say anything." I was like, and I'm just shuddering, I'm just shaking, and I'm like, "She just told me to move." I'm like, move over, move my stuff, like move out, like what the hell?" And he was like, "Where anyway? Good night. What is that? A murder?"
God, Alan.
I gotta get some sleep. I'm like, "Well, I won't be sleeping. Have a nice night, babe." And I just couldn't. I was so flipped out. Like she was pissed. That voice was pissed, and I had never felt that from anything. And I got on the phone with this clairvoyant
Mm-hmm.
Reiki master whom I had a Reiki session with. And we were seeing each other through Zoom. And I said, "Hey," I said, I think I've got some not so nice, a nice spirit in the house. Do you think that you could check it out?" And she was like, 100%, let's check it out. Well, I got on the Zoom with her, and the very first thing she said to me was like, "What the fuck is going on inside your apartment?" I said, she goes, "Honey, this is not okay." She goes, "You've been living with this?" I said, "Yes." She goes, "Wow."
What did she say?
She says, there are several spirits in your house, and some of them are not so friendly. I said, "Well, I think I just experienced her." And she spent, I don't know what she does. I don't know what she did, but honestly, so we spent an hour.
On
She
Zoom.
did, yes, on Zoom. She was like, I'm going to do the thing that I do for you. I'm going to bolster you, and I'm going to do as much of a clearing long distance as I can. But I mean, she felt it from the second she logged on.
Wow.
You know what I mean? She was like, "Whoa, that's a lot of activity." I actually had I was going to tell you later, but I did have another medium come in after my father died, and she kind of said the same thing.
Oh my God.
That was years prior. But anyway, by the time we left, I mean, I was saging like every other day. I mean, it was so sagey. I mean, I could open up a sage shop, but I was like, "Get your sage."
Oh my God.
But it felt a lot better after she came in. I think there might have been one other little tiny incident, but it was super nothing
Wow.
comparatively. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Jen, like if it wasn't for your rent increasing, you would have still been there.
Oh, we had totally planned on. I was like, they could take me in a pine box out of this place. Dude, it was huge. It was
Yeah.
freaking huge. Listen, there are rooms that we didn't even show you in the movie.
Oh, there was more rooms? I mean, the kitchen alone, I remember the scene. You can sit in the kitchen and fit 4 people.
Yeah, I mean, the reason we didn't show you the other room, which was Alan's office, was because that's like usually that's where the sound person was sitting.
Oh, got it.
And a lot of the storage for the gear. You know what I mean?
Wow.
It was a 3-bedroom, huge living room, eat-in kitchen in the East Village. Like,
Yeah, that's very rare. Very, very rare. Very rare.
Yeah, so we did downsize by one room, and well, kind of but this place is absolutely epic as well. It's definitely not haunted. I mean,
Thank God. But I think if it were, you would know how to deal with it.
Oh, I would.
Like I bought this place.
Yeah. A candle just fell out of its weird holder the other day while I was here by myself, and like my level of stress, like I mean, immediately your first response, I said, "Hello?" Like, "Bitch, there ain't nobody here." Like, "Well, who are you talking?" And I was like, but it was my bad. It was
Mhm.
completely I had this thing, and it was so lame the way that I had it kind of weirdly Velcroed, whatever.
Yeah.
It was not anything ghostly. It was just, I don't know, physics. So,
Thank
but
God.
but my point of bringing it up
Mm,
is I so desperately don't want I have been so happy here. I have been
yeah.
so restful here. I have been sleeping so well.
For the
Our
first time.
Yeah, for the first and I didn't honestly realize how affected that I was. I mean, we put an offer on this place. I didn't even see the rest of I we walked through the front door into the
Mhm.
kitchen, and I said, "We should put an offer down."
Wow.
Yeah, and so
That's how you have
anyway,
to do it in New York, you know?
yeah. I mean, I felt it. I felt peace.
Wow.
And this building's not young either. This is a 1900s building that went through absolute and utter shit hell. This had completely fallen into complete disrepair. I believe that it was by the time the 70s came along, I'm pretty sure that it was a squatter's house.
Oh.
Probably an artist commune. You
Mhm.
know how that
Yep.
happened.
Yeah.
And then a little bit later in the 70s and early 80s, it became a habitat for humanity, and
Oh.
the shareholders and built it all back up again, and now it's really nice.
Oh,
So,
wow.
I mean, it's not like nobody's ever died here before. It's not like anybody wasn't addicted and suffering here.
Mhm.
Those things, but they didn't happen. It didn't happen in this apartment.
Thank
So,
God.
yeah. And if it did,
You
it
could
was
you deserve a break.
yeah. Yeah, it really is. And honestly, great things are happening here. Like, just our lives have opened up, and there's a lot of, like, you know, I'm not saying that life wasn't grand at the other apartment too, but, now that you think about it, you went through the pandemic there, you had a
Yeah.
lot of, the dissolving of my business, which was really difficult,
Mm.
and I feel like this is a fresh start. Let's put it that way.
Oh, that's great. No, that's great. And then speaking of, like, you play Alex in Evil Sublet, and you also do voiceover acting work and other things. So, have you ever played a character that revealed something about yourself you didn't know before?
Oh, wow. Um, a couple of years ago, I was on a podcast. Not My friend Dave Stishan has
Mhm.
been he got a hold of some old radio plays, and
Mm.
he is reviving them and turning them into radio plays.
Oh.
We don't call them that anymore, but these are really old stories, right? Like super, like, exactly 25-minute long stories. Some of them are haunted, some of them are whatever, like classic radio plays. And I got to play this really old, decrepit, ghostly lady. And really crackety, old, suffering and all, and I loved it so much. I think I love going as far outside of myself as I really can. And as an actor, you don't really get to do that
Mhm.
very often. I'm getting ready to do yet another full-length feature film, and I'm pretty much playing myself. I mean, she's not like myself in certain ways because she crosses bridges that I would 100% never cross.
Mm.
And she's not as brave as I am. So, but she looks like me. She sounds like me. There's no, she lives in the city. She's completely my age, not trying to be younger. But I think there was something, and like, whether it revealed something in myself, it's like, I think listen, I think in the past 5 years, a lot of things have been revealed to me that I would have never starting with the pandemic.
Yeah.
Number one thing that got revealed to me about being in a pandemic, I don't need to go outside. I don't need to go anywhere. And I did not know that about myself because
Mhm.
I, people's expectations. I'm like, sure, I'll come. Sure, I'll come. Sure,
Mhm.
I'll come to whatever your thing is. I will come. I think I'm weirdly shy. So I think that is what I learned about myself in the pandemic, and that
Mm.
everything else I've been doing is basically a lie. I've been I've been pretending to be an extrovert when the truth is I am an extroverted introvert. you know,
In New York City.
in New York City, exactly. But as far as like, I think it's brilliant when a producer or director will give you a chance as an
Mm,
actor to really just I just want you to play. Like no one, hardly anyone ever says that to you. You know what I mean? It's like the I don't get to play those characters. When I was younger and when I was in school,
mhm.
I got to play a lot of things outside myself because you're a student and you have to. You know, they don't have character older people in the department, so you have to play the, but as an adult and out in the world, I will pretty much just be myself. It's just going to be some version of myself. So I think by doing that radio play, I'm like, can we have more of that, please?
Yeah.
I want to go as far away from myself. I want to be decrepit. I would be, if whatever anybody needed me to be, I would totally be that. You want me to be unattractive and dirty and scrappy, or whatever, like unappealing, in some way. I would love to do that too. Anyway, little
But,
thing.
no, that's amazing. There's so many well, with all actresses or actors, but even you particularly, there's just so many layers to you that you can just be whomever. So, has your definition of success changed since you first started acting?
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah. Oh my
Mhm.
God. When I was young and I was a musical theater performer, primarily
Yeah.
a dancer who sang.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was my whole track. That was my whole deal. And
Mhm.
I had like a super fun, like being a dancer in this city opens up a lot of performing job. Like you are going to like, I've I lived on a cruise ship for like 7.5 months,
Oh my gosh.
as a
What was that
performer.
like?
Oh no, that is like for another podcast.
Okay.
And also that is for your after dark podcast
Oh,
too. I'm
okay,
just saying, I'm just saying,
okay.
I'm just saying, I'm saying. No, but I've been to Europe so many times being a dancer. I've been on bus and truck tours. I've done a lot of
Wow.
regional theater. Like it was such a blast. But the ultimate goal for a dancer who sings is to be on Broadway.
Yeah.
Well, I came to New York already injured. Like I have really bad knees. They need to be replaced.
Oh.
And I'm like, I'll get to it one of these days. I'm not going to do it. P.S. That's for you to know. I'm like, I'm never going to do it.
It's
Like,
scary.
just
I've heard
carry me.
heard horror stories about
No,
that.
I don't
Yeah.
even want to go for a blood draw. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I will faint. I'm that girl. So anyway, um, but I mean, your idea. I mean, honestly, I held on for a good solid at least 10 years, thinking my goal is Broadway. I'm going to be at a Broadway show. My Broadway career was over before it even happened. By the time I was
Mm,
getting called back for Broadway shows, like my dancing career was like pretty much on the downhill slide.
mm,
So I mucked around for quite a few years, really doing that basic, of course, I was a waitress everywhere in town. You know what I mean? Um, all of that shit, a million jobs. And I think that was my goal. And that's your vision of having made it.
yeah.
And then I let go of it. I let go of it. I had a bakery for 11 and a half years.
Wow.
Yeah. So that
Where
was,
was
and
your bakery?
so the bakery was wild. So it was always a wholesale thing.
Okay.
So we would take orders from all of the coffee houses and some theaters and other random places. And we would just make thousands of items a day and then like send it like,
Wow.
it was like Joe the Art of Coffee or stuff.
Mhm.
Birch Coffee, Irving Farms. Like you might have even eaten something of mine and not even know it. Like we were in
Oh,
like 100+ shops in the city. So
wow.
that
That's
was
impressive.
it was wild. It was wild. So during that time, as far as being an actor is concerned, the only thing I did voiceover stuff because
Mm,
I could get away from the bakery to go do a voiceover thing and then come back. I couldn't go away and do a play for 3 months, you know what I mean?
right.
That was wild. So, but the bakery itself, was a couple of years it was in the city, and then we got so big we had to go out to Long Island City. and had a bakery like the size of a football field that we shared with other
Wow.
people. It was wild. And I had no idea that, I mean, I started it with my ex-boyfriend, like kind of on a dare, which is so, it was really, and before you knew it, we were incorporated. And before you knew it, we were in it. And it was awful in certain ways. We broke up like 4 years into it, but we were still like living together and working
Oh my
together. It
God.
was so awful. But, you learn a lot about yourself when you do something like that.
Yeah.
I certainly didn't think that I had any desire to be my own boss, to have a
Yeah.
team of people working underneath me, to be anyone's boss, to rise to that level of challenge. I mean, it was just like, it practically destroyed us, though, I have to say. I mean, because I was already older when we did that. I was
Mhm.
almost 40 when I
Wow.
started. I mean, I'm old now, but I was like, "What the hell are we
You
thinking?"
look great, Jen.
Oh,
You look
man,
great.
having a bakery is so unbelievably physical and taxing and trying.
Yeah.
Nobody tells you about, like, that part of it. So we were just like, I mean, I had, like, everything was torn, like, both rotator cuffs were torn. I had a
Oh my
tear in my hip.
God.
My knees were, like, just wrapped every day, It's
And you were
so
only
brutal.
40. Oh my God.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Wow.
so that was wild. But then after we sold the bakery, which is
Yeah.
absolutely amazing to actually have sold something. But it wasn't
Yeah.
until then, after I semi-retired, that I got into cake sculpting, which I'm super into now. And then I realized, like, I can kind of lean to, like, the horror end of this
Which
whole
is very popular, especially in cake
yes.
sculpting. Well,
Yeah.
and then the voiceover work, how did you get into that? Like, you were doing so much with between the dancing
Yeah.
everything, like, how did you
It's just all part of it, Listen, a lot most singers
Mhm.
are voiceover people. Like, a lot of the Broadway whatever, like, you are hearing them on television. Side effects may include vomiting, nausea, ask your doctor if is right for you. All of that
Mm,
shit, all of that's just part of the business,
mhm,
albeit a very, very tiny slice of the actor pie,
mm,
because I should clarify, it is kind of it is a special skill, and frankly,
yeah.
I haven't been doing it nearly as much as I used to. I mean, it really was my bread and butter for a long time, and I had multiple, campaigns going at a time. Like, I was the voice of Lysol disinfectant for, like,
Oh,
5 years. I
wow.
did every single product they had, at, like, literally every lotion, every gel,
Wow.
every spray, every mist, every whatever. But it's great money, and
Mhm,
it's not a lot of time investment, but it is a special skill, because when you go into that booth and you've got, like, all of those producers and like, you better
yeah.
know what the hell you're doing, because
Wow.
yeah, because these are multi-million dollar campaigns for these people, so a lot's riding on it. So it's
Right.
really, really hard to get the jobs to begin with. It's
Wow.
always between you and probably 59 other girls, and sometimes I don't even know if they want a girl. So sometimes it's between, like, you and 59 other boys and girls. So I started doing it in the early 90s,
Mm,
and I loved it. I love being in the
wow.
booth. I love singing in the booth. I love talking in the booth.
And you
I
set your
absolutely
own
love it.
schedule.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes
Mhm.
you get an audition and they're like, I need this before, 5 o'clock this afternoon. You're like, oh shit. You did, okay. Oh, wow. Okay. So, but it is really fun. I wish that I did it more. I do a lot of political stuff now,
Oh, okay.
which is super cool too. Like, it's totally fine. Senatorial races and the League of Conservation Voters, and,
Oh my
like, yeah, like,
gosh.
things that I believe in, obviously. So, but yeah, it's a trip. It's such a cool little tiny slice of the performer pie. And I
Wow.
think what people don't realize is, like, uh, if you book something, you you can earn a lot of money. Like, you
Mm,
can, take a breath for a minute, and then focus on the other shit that you have, because you probably are running a business, and you probably have another job, and you probably,
yeah.
are auditioning for a play really that you want really badly that happens in 3 months. It's just the nature of the beast of being a performer in this city. Most people that you know who are actors,
Mhm.
unless they came into being successful actors really early on, they probably have a myriad of other skills that you don't even know about. You find
Yeah.
out that like and you get kind of upset like, "What do you mean, oh, so and so thinks they're a singer now?" Like, "Yeah, they were a singer all along. That's just not how they." I even do it to myself, you know what I mean? "What do you mean Jennifer Love Hewitt is a singer? Since when?" Like, since her whole life. Shut up. You know what I mean? So, yeah, she was on, like, Kids Incorporated or what,
Yeah,
whatever,
that's right.
you
That's
know,
right.
it everybody who is going to be living in New York City and calling themselves an actor has probably got a big, like, a tote case of, like, skills that they can just open up and bring out at any given time,
Yeah.
and to be frank with you, it's really
Mhm.
not any different now. I'm also a makeup artist.
You are?
I've been a makeup artist for Stephen Mosher Photography for 30
Oh my
years.
gosh,
Yeah,
Jen.
it'll be
How
30
do you
years.
when do you sleep?
Okay. Well, I mean, but see, it's exactly the way my life has always been.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And since I've sold the bakery, and become a cake sculptor, and I have my little online cake show called Shut Your Cake Hole, which is super fun. We have been too busy the past couple of years to really keep up with that. But people know me through that. And so they'll
Mhm.
ask me for like some weird random, they know that they can ask me for almost anything, a cake wise, and I will build it for them. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So it's really, really fun. So, I get a few cake orders, but it's all on my terms, basically.
That's
Yeah.
great. No,
Yeah.
that's great, Jen. We talked a lot about like horror, and it seems like horror, the haunted house found you, and every horror story has a monster. So if your life were a horror film, what would the monster represent?
Um, there's a couple of different ways I can go with that. And one is really deep
Mm.
and maybe personal. Is that okay?
Yeah, yeah.
I
Whatever
think
you're
it's
comfortable with.
I'm comfortable talking about damn near anything, as you
Mm.
probably have figured out by now. But I think it's also really important at this time in our life, this week, this month, this year, this decade. But the monster, uh, as I say to Alan at least once a week, because I watch a lot of true crime,
Oh.
I probably your audience watches like totally. I'm either watching horror or I'm watching true crime.
Yeah.
Um, and reading horror and reading true crime. But I mean, honestly, I think the monsters for a lot of people are very real and they are not made up. They are in the world.
Mm,
And n- the monster has always been the sexual predator
mm,
for me. That is the part that plays on me in a way that is inescapable. It's the part that still fills me with dread in a way that Backrooms or Obsession is not filling me with dread. You know what I mean? Don't get me
yeah.
wrong. I love, 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 love both of those films. Just saw those the other day. But but I think humanity, we are filled with monsters. And my husband is such a genius, great writer. I know he's my husband and I think he's really smart, but he is such a clever, clever man. And whatever he's conjured, like for our upcoming film, there's nothing in there that's scarier to me than a sexual predator.
Mm,
And obviously, that's from experience. And those are the
um,
things that haunt me. And those are the things that keep me in dread. And those are the things that set me off. And those are the things that fuel my anger, obviously, in the world that we live in. So, yeah, so maybe that was not entirely the answer. Maybe I could generalize it a little bit
no,
more. And
no, no, I
yeah,
no, that it definitely made sense. Wow.
yeah, the loss of, you could say, okay, well, being tied up. Okay, great, which is a mirror for losing your autonomy
Yeah.
and having whatever X, Y, and Z done to you, right?
Mhm.
Tortured. I'm thinking of the Stephen King. What's it called when she's like handcuffed to the bed and her
Or is it
husband? What
um,
do you know what I'm talking
which
about?
movie?
Oh God,
Handcuffed to the.
somebody's game, Gerald's game. Gerald's Game. Have you not
Oh,
seen that?
I don't think I
You
have.
didn't read are you
Oh,
a
I
Stephen
am.
King
No,
fan?
I am,
Yeah.
and I remember meeting him, many years ago, but I'm trying to think who's in it.
Um,
Do you remember?
I can't
I'll
think
I'll
about
find I'll
us.
Google it.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
figure
yeah.
it out. Yeah.
And it is both.
Okay.
It's both aspects. It's like, oh shit, here's just reality, just life without anything paranormal happening. I am in a
Right.
situation where I am so completely, I have lost all of my autonomy. And this is a
Wow.
very, very bad situation. You know what? I'm not even going to tell you anymore because and I think the book is probably better than the movie, but I have to say, people
Mhm.
always get Stephen King wrong when it's very, I'm sorry to say, but other than The Shining and
Right. Carrie and yeah.
yeah, I think it turned out really
Mhm.
well. And Carrie is freaking great.
Mhm.
There's a few of them that turned out really well, but most of the time people cannot comprehend what Stephen King has actually created in the character's mind, so they get it
Yeah.
wrong. But this one's pretty good, and now I want you to go watch it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
and
now
yeah,
yeah. No, go
yeah.
ahead. Yeah, no, I
No, but it's such an analogy for well, I've already told you too much.
I know. I
So
know. No, I definitely that's next on the list. So, what's something you talked about like your history, you talked about your childhood, you talked about your apartment, your haunted apartment, and then your career journey, baking, you being owning a bakery. So, what's something you spent years trying not to become?
that's easy.
Mhm.
Um oh my god. I probably shouldn't say what I'm going to say, but I've tried not to become my mother. Um let's see, isn't that awful? It sounds
No,
terrible. Okay.
it's not.
But I mean that. I think I mean that. I think my whole deal is not just to be liked.
Mm,
Um, God, I hope I don't cry. But I think being really kind is so underrated, and I there's not a reason in the world that I should be kind after everything, after the way that I was raised, after the weird kind of harsh way that I was raised. Um, I mean, this is what therapy is for. You don't just come on a podcast and go, "Wee, my mom dropped me on my head when I
well, we
was
are in the
2."
mirror room, so.
But I think having a mother who I mean, she doesn't really like me very much. I think she loves me because she has to, but she definitely doesn't like me. And I think that it hurts my soul
Yeah.
so much that to go out into the world and then be the person that people like. I find it really easy to talk to people.
Mm,
I find myself being genuinely interested in what they have to say and what they're doing. So really, I, I, I I mean, I literally don't have kids because I was so afraid. Well, what if I have a kid and that kid feels about me the way that I was like, I
yeah.
couldn't take it. Also, I just didn't want kids. No,
Yeah.
I love
No,
kids, love
but that's
them. Didn't
okay.
want
I
any.
mean, and
Yeah,
also what you're saying, a lot of people can relate to that too.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. I think that and this goes back. What have you trying not to do? Try not to be a failure as a human being.
Mm,
I'm like I just like I'm not afraid. I stand up for what I believe in. I will grab an ICE agent off of a. Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like yeah, whatever. Whatever the situation is. I feel very uh like a a a good citizen, a good person. I don't know. That yeah. Don't fail as a human being.
Yeah.
don't don't cower in the corner. Don't give in to your fears. Don't give in
Yeah.
to your um all of it. I don't know. I'm thinking about like 5 different things right now that
No, I get it. And you only have
yeah,
one life. Just
yeah,
be a good person, be a good human being, and just go for it. And
yeah,
that's so courageous with you, Jen. Like, despite I guess, how you were raised and everything else, like, you did what you wanted to do and you're successful at it. And, it's just so great hearing your career journey, your haunted journey, and just everything. You just have such a rich, rich life, and
Aw.
it's just very impressive as
Oh,
I see the creepy dolls and the skeleton in the background.
you should see this. You should come over sometime.
Yeah.
This place is so absolutely awesome. When it's
Oh,
yours, you can do whatever you want.
that's a great feeling.
It's unbelievable. One of the greatest joys of my
Yeah.
life has been putting this place together.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah.
If the mirror room, as we're nearing towards the door, for the mirror room for you, so if the mirror room could only reflect one version of you, which version would it show? The one the world knows, the one your family knows, the one your closest friends know, or the one only you know exists, and why?
Well, believe it or not, all of those versions
Mm,
are that's it. There is no other version. Like, I do not compartmentalize.
mm,
Um, I just don't. I think I am unequivocally myself wherever I go. I used to compartmentalize, and that is very, very, very dangerous for somebody who's maybe going to you can get yourself into a lot of trouble, and I did
mm.
get myself into a lot of trouble. Um, so yeah, there is no there like I'm such an open book, which makes me like maybe I feel like God, I should be more mysterious, but you know what? I can't.
No.
I'm exhausted. I can't, it's like I ain't got no mystery. This is like this is it. Like, what you see is what you get, and I am very much myself wherever I go, and there's a lot of freedom in that. Like, there really is.
Yeah.
Um, I I I just I think versions of oneself is exhausting.
It is. It is. And it's great
Yeah.
that you can just be yourself, particularly in horror. So, as we near the final door, you've already shared with us some creepy things that happened to you. But since this is the Looks Creepy Cool podcast, what is the most creepiest thing that's happened to you? And what is the most coolest thing that's happened to you? And it can be in any order.
Wow. I think the creepiest thing that's ever
Mm,
happened to me is there was back in the Evil Sublet,
yeah.
I was living alone because Alan had moved to Chicago to work on President Obama's campaign.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was living alone, working in the bakery, and my father had died just a few months before. So we had, laid him to rest and all of that. But I don't know. Maybe it was 6 months or so after he passed away, but
Hmm.
a lot of things in the apartment kept really, really ramping up, and they were really the feeling that I had around them was way different than I had had around any of the other things, like, feeling like somebody was getting into the bed with me.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, shit like that, and, glasses being knocked off the counter in the
Mm,
kitchen, and it's so much so that that's when I called in my friend Jennifer Flynn, who is a psychic medium of some note, and, we didn't know each other very well, at all, and it was before social media, so there was no way for her to know anything, but she did come in, and through I won't tell you the whole story, but we through a lot of talking and talking and talking and talking, we did
mm.
come to find out that that was my father doing a visitation, and my father's a bit of a jokester. He always was. Like, he thought it was hilarious that I was afraid of him. I mean, he was, like, turning on and off lights, particularly my reading light in the bed.
Yeah.
He's like, "What are you reading?" So, like, it would be like he was, like, treating me like an older brother, like, "What are you reading?" "No, you're not." It was literally like that where I was like, "Stop it." Literally, like, talking, and he was talking about the apartment. "Your cat your cat is so beautiful, she sees me." She knows
Oh.
I'm here. But I did ask him to stop. I did tell him, I was like, none of what you're doing is funny to me. I love you. I miss you. Please stop. But but between the events themselves happening and the way that I felt when Jen was having that session with me was so unbelievably intense. And it was cool and it was creepy and there was a bit magical as well.
Wow.
It was wild. I could have a whole podcast just on my session with Jennifer Flynn, but that's obviously for another day. So,
Wow. Wow, so
yeah.
you answered both questions in
I did.
one.
Yes.
That's the
Yeah.
first. That is a
Yeah.
first, and this is the 3rd season of the podcast. No one has ever done that, so that's
Awesome.
crazy. Wow.
Awesome.
Jen, this has been a great, great interview. I'm so happy you stepped into the mirror room, and you have to come again. Is there anything that you wanna tell your audience that what you're working on, what's coming up, anything that you share? I'll put in the links below, guys, when this is posted, everywhere. And so, yeah, tell us anything that you like us to know.
Absolutely. I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't say that we are really ramping up on our second full-length feature horror, and I'm going to say horror dramedy because it's not nearly as light and fluffy as Evil Sublet. The comedy is there. Sally Struthers is playing my mother.
Oh.
It's really her movie. She is the star. Lauren Richardson plays another key role. Alan Piper is playing my husband. And Bill Plimpton, who is an amazing artist. It has a lot of animated sequences, and he is the first animator to sign on, and he is already blowing us away with his work. So we are ramping up to start filming in November.
Wow.
And I have no idea when it will be out in the world, but we are so unbelievably excited. It's called Highway Gothic.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Love the title. Love the title. Oh my gosh. Well, we can't wait. The house is always around. It's haunted, so it never leaves. And no, thank you so much, Jen. And also I'll put links to your social platforms and then you can follow Jen on Instagram. Are you on TikTok?
I am
Or
on
just
TikTok. Yeah.
Okay.
Tell people to go to Jen's Shut Your Cake Hole.
Okay. All right.
That's a fun thing to watch.
Okay.
There's a lot of like fun ridiculousness, and even though it's cake stuff, there's a lot of it that's kind of spooky. So that's fun.
All right, guys. Jen, Shut Your Cake Hole. Follow her. And Jen, thank you so much. You may exit the mirror room now. And thank you so much for being a guest on the Looks Creepy Cool podcast.
Thank you so much, Renee. Thank you so much. So fun. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Want more chills and chatter? We're streaming on all podcast platforms.